When I started medical school, I began studying more than I ever have in my entire life. And in this video, I will show you the exact method I use to track every single minute of my studying that has helped improve my approach to how I spend my time, and only takes a few minutes each week. So the program I use for time tracking is called Rescue Time, and it automatically records how much time I spend on each application or web page. And the benefit of this is its accuracy. And so when people say they work 80 hours a week, well, how much of that time is actually productive studying? How much of that time is just, sitting around? So I think it's important to distinguish between the two. And so the categorizations within Rescue Time really helps with that. And they also have a function that reduces idle time track. So if you leave your computer with the screen on, it helps to account for that difference in time. I guess the major downside for this is that it only tracks computer use time. It works out for me because I use the computer for pretty much all of my studying. But if you are a notes taker or textbook user, then definitely keep that in mind. This might not be ideal. Okay, so for my categories, I have 5 that I set. First one, communication scheduling, is like my Gmails, spreadsheets, GCal. I use spreadsheets for tracking my studying, along with, like Messenger, things like that. Reference and learning is everything related to studying. So this is Anki, PDFs, slides. Entertainment is YouTube, Spotify, got some Naruto here, Twitter. Focus work is research. And I use Excel, MATLAB, EndNote, Google Docs, Microsoft Word for research. And then design and composition is everything that's creative. So Notion, YouTube Studio, Adobe Premiere, things like that. So Rescue Time actually automatically categorizes things for you at the very start, but if you wanted to fit your own purposes, you might find that you have to reset some of the categorizations. So for example, Notion, I can switch this to, right now it's design and comp, but I can switch this to focus work if I wanted to, if I use it a lot for research. And some apps I actually use for multiple purposes. So you kind of just have to use your judgment call with that, whichever category it fits best. Now, after I finished setting up Rescue Time, I ran into a problem. So Rescue Time divides up time into weeks and months, which is obviously intuitive. But for me, it's more helpful to format the data around my medical school schedule. So in medical school, we have what are called blocks, which are 3-week periods where we study one specific topic, and then that culminates in exam at the end of that time. So it would be helpful if I could compare my study habits, say, before and after an exam, between different blocks, so I could compare how my studying varies depending on the topic or the workload of that specific block. And there are also some other limitations to the free version where you can't view your progress 3 months prior. My solution to this problem is to make a spreadsheet, which I have here. So basically data is split between the different weeks of each block, and so it's very easy for me to visualize here how much time I'm spending on each category for each block. And then I can also split it up by day as well. So pretty much all I have to do at the end of every Sunday is to fill in these columns here from Rescue Time, and then everything else is recalculated. Here I have my weekly percentages, total time. From there I can get my weekly hours, average daily hours by block, and then everything else is graphed automatically in these charts here. Okay, so let's go more detail into these. This is going to be, a histogram of the different categories by each week of each block. So I can compare, for neuro in this block, how much time do I spend here? I spend a lot of time studying for neuro. Not as much time for MSK, musculoskeletal, in this block. I wonder why. Okay, we can also hypothesize about that. And then here we have the daily hours for each category per block. So take what you want from there. And then I've also tried to look at some associations, basically trying to graph if there's any relationship between my productive time and non-productive time. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think it's beneficial to take 5 minutes at the end of every week to fill in this row and look at how I'm doing with respect to previous weeks. If I'm, not studying enough, then I can retailor my approach. I think there's a lot of insights that can be gleaned from this stuff. I've been trying to take some reflections after every block to kind of look back and see where I can improve my tactics. The way I think of it is, if I'm spending upwards of 50 to 60 hours a week studying and doing work, I think it's worthwhile to spend at least a fraction of that time looking into how I can improve my time management. In addition, I will also be releasing a video talking about the data that I've collected from over 20 weeks of medical school and my key findings and takeaways from that. So definitely stay tuned if you're interested.